assault victims. Plus, students come together to present their research on the Pitt State campus. And music will fill the air at an upcoming festival for primary education students. All that and more coming up on CAPS 13 News.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of CAPS 13 News. I'm Vanessa Tapia.
And I'm Zane Hall. Students for Violence Prevention run a collection drive for victims of sexual assault. The drive accepts clothing and bedding to donate to sexual assault victims who must turn over these items as evidence to the police. Donation will go to medical hospitals in Pittsburg, Parsons, and Girard. The group is also asking for men's clothing, full bedding spreads, and brand new undergarments.
We really want them to be able to leave the hospital wearing clothes because they've already been through so much, so it's really heartbreaking that a lot of times they have to leave the hospital wearing a little hospital robe.
In addition, Students for Violence Prevention is promoting a panel for students, faculty, and community members to ask anonymous questions about the facts of sexual assault.
Okay, Zane, come to one.
Pittsburg State University hosts its annual research colloquium.
I had a chance to see how this event brings together students with a variety of topics.
The Research Colloquium's goal is to showcase the work of students. There were 179 presenters in total. 29 of those presenters did oral presentations, and the rest of them did poster presentations. 16 of those posters were high school students. Maricela Resendez is a junior majoring in social work. She tells us more on what her research project is all about.
Our research project consisted of finding students who were having food insecurity here at campus and finding some of the interventions that would help them most likely find the resources and actually finding their circumstances, their demographics, and what were the reasons why they were lacking food insecurity.
Students chose from a variety of topics. Some examples were school to prison pipeline, Asian women in STEM industry, melding the mediums, and many more. Christian Dowling's research project was titled The Correlation Between Stress and Alcohol Consumption in College Students. He tells us more about his fascinating conclusions.
What we found was the exact opposite of what our thesis was. Our thesis was that our community of college students would experience high levels of alcohol consumption during periods of high levels of stress. Our studies found that 30% of our participants experienced high levels of alcohol consumption during stress, which indicates that there's a very little relationship between the two, meaning that they're independent and that they should be treated differently and separately instead of together.
For CAPS 13 News, I'm Vanessa Tapia.
More than 1,000 music students come to PSU for the Mid-American Music Festival. The Mid-American Music Festival features music students from kindergarten through 8th grade. It allows these students to take part in solo ensemble performances without the pressure found in regional competitions. Although the students in the Mid-American Music Festival may be young, MAMF Director Joanne Britz says that they are still remarkably talented.
For having played an instrument 1, 2, 3 years, these kids are the top of their classes, because they've chosen to do something that's completely optional to them. They don't have to go to this contest and they don't have to do a solo, but they want to. So they're motivated and they're really strong musicians for their age.
Joanne Britt says that the Mid-American Music Festival takes weeks to plan, but in the end is worth it to get experience for the kids.
Coming up on CAPS 13, a small museum in southeast Kansas features the work of a married couple who traveled the world.
Plus, an annual event that brings music from the 1800s back to life. We'll be right back.
I'm always the first one up. I'm always up for a challenge. I'll overcome any obstacle. I don't believe in limits. refuse to be average.
Hey Gorilla Nation, this is Stu Height, Chief of Police here at Pittsburg State. Hope you're off to a great semester, and we want to just give you a couple of reminders of how to take care of your valuables. Please don't ever leave them unattended for any length of time at all. We live on a very safe campus and a very safe community, but you can never be too safe. So if you ever need anything, if you have any questions, any concerns about anything ranging from parking or just safety and security, please feel free to call us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go Gorillas!
The skills you can develop in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your interests in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment that you can transfer to an exciting new field. Get a head start on your career while serving part-time and earning money to pay for college. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
In the early 1900s, a young couple from Kansas named Martin and Osa Johnson captured the public's imagination through their films and books of adventure in exotic faraway places.
Here's the story with Barrett Young.
While living in Kansas, Martin Johnson dreamt of traveling the world, which he did from 1907 through 1909, on a voyage with Jack London to the South Seas. He returned to Kansas and married Osa in 1910. They traveled the world, taking pictures and filming things never before seen by the public. The curator at the Martin and Osa Johnson Safari Museum in Chanute, Kansas, shares more about the Johnsons.
They went to the South Seas twice, in 1917 and 1919, and then Hollywood kind of suggested that people were interested in things other than cannibals and asked them basically, what can you do next? So they went to the island of Borneo and they filmed elephants and flying snakes and orangutans. The first wildlife documentaries were invented in North Borneo. It was then British North Borneo. And when the people at the Natural History Museum in New York and Chicago saw what the Johnsons had done, they said, if you could go to Africa, where these great vast herds are disappearing, and make a record of that, we might hire you. And they were hired to go to Africa for 4 years and do massive documentation of the areas that were being hunted out, the animals that were disappearing. They did a lot of aviation first. They were the first to film a number of species in British North Borneo that people didn't know, like the flying snakes, a couple monkeys that are probably almost extinct now. They filmed the great herds that don't exist anymore in Africa.
When asked what are the most important items at the museum, curator Zimmer replied,
I think the photographs. We have a photographic collection of about 15,000 photos that were all taken in the field by both Martin and Osa. She was an equal with him in taking those. I think the photos are important because they almost all have captions and backgrounds. And so you have these visual documents of things that are just completely gone now. They didn't take things from the people. They only came back with themselves in the actual photos.
When asked why the museum is special,
Kansas has fantastic museums everywhere. But we have a little bit of it all. We have two famous Kansans, Martin and Osa. People come to study them as famous Kansans or famous Americans. We have aviation people. There's airplane. Their airplane safari was unprecedented, what they accomplished with that. We have the largest collection of West African art in the Midwest. We have the largest collection of a female dance mask. So this museum, we're special, I think, because we have fantastic natural history collections. We have fantastic art collections. We have great history. We have great biographical aviation. And so you can see a little bit of everything that is the best of both Kansas and around the world in one spot.
From Chanute, Kansas and the Martin and Osa Johnson Safari Museum, for CAPS 13 News, this is Barrett Young.
And if you would like to take a safari without leaving the state of Kansas, visit safarimuseum.com for more information. The
The annual Civil War encampment on the grounds of Fort Scott National Historic Site will be held Saturday and Sunday, April 27th and 28th. In conjunction with this event, the Friends of Fort Scott National Historic Site will be hosting the second annual Civil War Camp Dance. Located in downtown Fort Scott, Historic Memorial Hall will be filled with music from the 1800s, along with whooping and hollering and dancing feet at the Civil War Camp Dance the evening of Saturday, April 27th. Period dances and music are sure to entertain participants as they bring history to life. Dee Young, the camp dance coordinator, explains.
The camp dance is held to coincide with the Civil War encampment weekend at Fort Scott National Historic Site. It gives the volunteers attending the encampment an opportunity to get together, have a good time, and bring history alive in a social atmosphere. The public is invited to come and join in the dancing or just to watch. We encourage, but don't require, those who attend to come dressed in 1860s Civil War attire or dressed in 1800s Western pioneers. It sets the tone for the evening. All ages are welcome. Come join us as we dance away to 1800s music.
The doors open at 6:30 and dancing begins at 7 p.m. It costs $5 per person. The proceeds will go to the Friends of Fort Scott National Historic Site. For more information, go to Facebook and search for the Civil War Camp Dance event.
Coming up in sports on Caps 13, renovations are underway at the PSU baseball stadium.
Plus, a doubleheader for the Pitt State softball team. Caleb with No will have more after the break.
Reserved? Okay, let me check on that for you. It doesn't say we have any reservations.
What do you mean you don't have any reservations?
I'm sorry.
I came in and reserved this yesterday.
I guess they didn't.
Come on, like let's get it together. My coffee tasted horrible this morning. I didn't study for my test and I failed it. Like you're just adding on to my day for no reason.
I wasn't working yesterday. I wasn't the one that.
Come, get on it. I don't know. Is there something we can do?
Are you having a hard day? So is the person you're yelling at. Don't be part of the problem.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
It may be the middle of baseball season, however, the biggest storyline around the team just might be happening outside the baseball diamond rather than on it. Pittsburg State Athletics have privately funded a new addition to the Al Ortolani baseball field, and I went over to the east side of campus to check out its progress. Pittsburg State's baseball team is in the middle of a rebranding as construction on a new state-of-the-art $2 million locker room and luxury suite facility in Al Ortolani Field is underway. Renovations to the stadium also include new bleachers for fans and an individual press box directly behind home plate. I talked with first-year head coach Bob Fernelli on his perspective of the renovations.
Yeah, it's going to change us night and day. We don't have a locker room yet. It's still not done, so hopefully it'll be done early in May, and hopefully we'll have it for the tournament. But to recruit without a locker room, without a place that they can call their own is tough. Pitt State's selling out to have a chance to be successful here, and hopefully we can provide that.
This renovation is expected to greatly help the future of the team in recruiting. However, players and coaches are optimistic that the energy from this new stadium will provide an immediately better product on the field, as well as bring more fans into the stadium to watch the baseball team. Pitcher Tanner Lane gives us specifics on how he feels this new dynamic will come about.
I believe that once we have that completely done, and as the weather gets nicer, it's just going to create that morale of the team just being more excited, and I think that'll help us play really well to where there will be more fans coming out.
Head coach Bob Fernelli echoed this sentiment as he explains what he believes is a direct correlation between product on the field and fans in the stadium.
Well, I hope it will. As time goes by, we're going to have bigger and better and stronger athletes to come in here and help us be successful. And then hopefully people will come and watch this product.
When asked what the biggest change that this renovation will bring to the team is, Tanner Lane answered saying that an exclusive locker room to the baseball team will provide a team chemistry that they haven't had before.
I'm most excited for having this clubhouse. Chemistry is pretty good as it is already, but I think it's going to grow and get even better once that locker room is finished and we spend more time together in there.
Not only does the absence of a locker room have a factor on team chemistry, but Coach Fernelli describes how it affects players' ability to show up to practice, as well as the culture around the team itself.
You know, guys have all their stuff in their trunk of their car and they're dressing in the parking lot and they show up late because there's really nowhere to go. And then when practice is over, there's nowhere to hang out, so they get in their car and go home. So this is going to allow us to become a family. In any good program, you have to have a good culture. That's the biggest thing that I think is going to help change this program. And it takes time, but we're going to head in the right direction.
While the new facility is not ready for use despite having been scheduled to be done before the season started, Coach Fernelli is hopeful that this upgrade will be done in time for Pittsburg State to host the 2019 MIAA Conference Baseball Tournament, taking place May 9th through 12th. Reporting for Caps 13 Sports, I'm Caleb Withno. The new building will also house coaching offices, a player lounge, and hitting facilities. In addition to the baseball field, new bleachers were also put into the Gene Bicknell softball complex. And I sat in those new bleachers during the softball team's doubleheader against Central Missouri on Tuesday. Let's get you right into the action. Fans attending Game 1 were treated for giving up their mid-afternoon with some extra inning baseball. The game would make it to 9 full innings before Mackenzie Goswick would come up to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. The Jennies and Gorillas tied at 5 runs. 2 outs were already recorded, but that wasn't on the first baseman's mind, as she belted the first pitch she saw over the left center field fence, walking off the Jennies of Central Missouri with a solo home run that would finally put the first game of this twin bill in the books. With the home run, the Gorillas captured a 6-5 victory over Central Missouri. Shelby Smith would be the winning pitcher after coming in relief, throwing 4 innings, giving up 2 hits, and allowing 0 earned runs. Mackenzie Goswick would finish the day going 3 for 5 with 1 RBI from her walk-off home run. Now let's waste no time and go right into the action from Game 2. After giving up 1 run in the 3rd, the Gorillas answered immediately in the bottom of the inning as Drew Collins hit a leadoff single to right field. Collins eventually made it to 3rd base on 2 wild pitches, setting up Mackenzie Goswick to score Collins with the double down the left field line, tying the game at 1 run apiece. And it would be another double down the left field line, this time by Kayla Holder, scoring Mackenzie Goswick from second base as the Gorillas swapped doubles to take a 2-1 lead. However, PSU would only have the 1-point lead till the top of the 5th inning, when Jennies' Haley Crabtree walloped a 3-run home run to right field, giving the Jennies a 5-2 lead over the Gorillas. Pitt State would not bounce back from the home run as the Jennies tacked on 2 more runs in the 5th, which would prove to be the last run scored in the contest. Fueled by a 5-run 5th inning, Central Missouri defeated Pittsburg State with a final score of 6-2. Hallie Bryn was the losing pitcher for the Gorillas as she recorded 4 innings pitch, allowing 3 hits and 2 earned runs. Kayla Holder would be the Gorillas' hottest bat, going 2 for 2 with an RBI double. Pittsburg State's men's basketball team will be looking for a new assistant coach, as former assistant coach John Gilliam has resigned and will not return next season. Gilliam was placed on administrative leave January 31st under accusations of saying racial slurs to the players of Central Missouri during the January 12th contest between Central Missouri and Pittsburg State. However, according to a university spokesperson, the resignation has nothing to do with the recent investigation. Coach Gilliam was a former player of Kim Anderson's 2014 national title team at Central Missouri, and he will now be pursuing other options moving forward. In other quick news, Pitt State track teams performed well in 2 road meets as they prepare for this weekend's home track meets, and the PSU baseball team defeated the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri in Kansas City. That'll do it for this week in Caps 13 Sports. We will be right back.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Now it's time for our cinema guru to give us the lowdown on this week's movies. So Zane, what was on this week?
Well, this week we had some really big premieres. We had Shazam and like The Best of Enemies. So Shazam, rated PG-13, was directed by David F. Sandberg. Nothing short of amazing. Zachary Levi killed it as Shazam, and Mark Strong was an awesome antagonist. The story was awesome. The effects were great. There was both a thematic and superficial premises that were satisfied without the movie. And honestly, it's the best newer DC movie out there. Billy Batson, played by Asher Angel, is a boy who has left foster home after foster home, never finding a sense of family. One day, he is brought before a wizard who deems him worthy to have the powers of Shazam. His current foster brother, Freddy, played by Jack Dylan Grazer, finds out about Billy's new powers and helps him understand them. Shazam is hilarious, action-packed, and an excellent superhero movie. Not many films have similar themes that capture what a hero is. Shazam is a breath of fresh air on the genre. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91%, IGN gave it an 8.8 out of 10. Fans gave it an 89%, and it's a 9 out of 10 for me. If you are on the fence with going to watch Shazam, you should definitely go watch it. The Best of Enemies, rated PG-13, directed by Robin Bissell, is a masterpiece. This is definitely one of my top 3 movies of all movies I've watched, hands down. The acting was superb, coupled with an outstanding script. The Best of Enemies is based on a true story about a significant civil rights event that happened in Durham, North Carolina. Ann Atwater, played by Taraji P. Henson, a civil rights activist in the area, went head-to-head against C.P. Ellis, played by Sam Rockwell, a local Ku Klux Klan leader, on the topic of segregation in schools. There are very few films that show plausible ways of overcoming hatred, and The Best of Enemies retells an amazing tale of how kindness beat cruelty in a way that really tugs on the heart. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 50%, IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10, Fan Reviews gave it a 78%, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't know what is up with these reviews, but you should go watch it. It is a fantastic movie. And this has been a movie review with your cinema guru.
Thanks, Zane. That does it for this week's edition of Caps 13 News.
Also, visit us on Facebook at Caps 13 Pittsburg State University. Stay tuned for Caps 13 for more great programming.